My teachers are excited about being able to research best practices.
Glad to hear. They should be empowered by the process.
Yes, but they are having a little difficulty understanding how to analyze what they have found. Any suggestions?
The analysis can be intense, but I do have some general tips that could help. I can send them to you, and you can determine what's best for your staff.
Sounds great. Thanks. Let's see what Dr. G has for me.
So we want to look at analyzing best practices. These are some general tips for effectiveness. So what's our purpose? We want to get an overview of the process, examine the process, look at some examples, and look at some keys to remember. So an overview, we want to be able to identify the practice, population, process, results, and recommendations. These are the things we'll need as an instructor in order to replicate the best practice. So a sample of the key information, if you look at the abstract of your research best practice, the abstract will give us all the key information, such as the practice, the population, the process, and the results. We also know who is conducting the research by the authors. So the practice, we want to analyze the practice thoroughly. We want to know who conducted it. We want to know the strategies used, the instruction it entails, and the area of instruction it addresses. So a practice example, who conducted the practice? Well, we know it was the researchers of the study. We also look at the strategy it uses. The instruction it entails, and the areas of instruction. All this can be found in the objective and the procedure process. We want to look at the population. We want to be able to identify the locale of the population, the grade levels of the population, and the number of participants. In the study, it's clearly identified in the population sample. We have the number of participants, where they were located, as well as the grade levels. This should be readily found in the population section of the study. Moving forward, we want to know what process or practice they implemented, who performed the instruction implemented, and the length of the implementation time. This can be found in the process sample and the procedure sample of the actual study. We want to look at the results, identify the results of the implementation, comparison group results. This is found in the results section of the study. And these are screenshots taken directly from the actual study that I analyzed. This is the key information I'll need as an instructor in order to replicate. First, identify whether the strategy is effective, and then be able to replicate. Lastly, we want to look at the recommendations. What were the limitations and the recommendations for replicating this practice or improving it? These are clearly identified in the limitations or recommendations section of the study. Some keys to remember. You want to identify all the key aspects of the study. You'll need this in order to determine the effectiveness of the practice. Extract only what you need. While it is informative to read the entire study, extracting what you need helps you keep focused when analyzing the practice that you're trying to implement. Be thorough. Notice in the screenshots that I took out all the key information. That way I can break it down as necessary. And then you can also share the heavy lifting. You can look at one study as a collective group in your content area and break down each aspect of it from the practice, population, and divide the heavy lifting so that one person isn't overwhelmed by trying to analyze the study. and that is analyzing best practices in a nutshell.
Not bad. This is much better than having to find all these practices myself and break them down for staff. This should work. I'll share this with teachers tomorrow.